My name is Lucas. I am 28 years old. I live in a small town in the north of Canada. People say I smile a lot, that I am kind and calm. Maybe that's true. But not many people know the story behind my smile. Not many people know what it feels like to grow up without a father. I never met him. Not even once. When I was born, he was already gone. My mother, Grace, told me he left when she was 3 months pregnant. He said he wasn't ready. He said he didn't want a child. So, he disappeared. No phone calls. No visits. Nothing. Just silence. My mother was only 21 at the time. She was scared, but she was strong. She worked 2 jobs. She cleaned houses in the morning and worked at a bakery in the afternoon. She never complained. At night, she held me in her arms and whispered, "You are enough." Growing up, I used to watch the other kids with their dads. At school events, they would run into their father's arms. I watched them laugh together, play together. I tried not to care. I told myself, it's okay. Mom is enough. But sometimes, late at night, I would lie in bed and whisper, "Where are you? Why didn't you want me?" I asked my mom once, when I was 10, what was he like? She was quiet. Then she said, he was charming. He had a nice smile. But he was not ready to be a father. That's not your fault. I nodded, but I didn't believe her. I thought maybe I had done something wrong. Maybe I wasn't lovable enough. That feeling stayed with me for a long time. When I was 12, I joined a soccer team. The other boys had dads who cheered from the sidelines. I looked around and saw only my mom, standing there in the cold, clapping with both hands. She never missed a game. Never. But no matter how loud she cheered, I always felt the silence of his absence. One day, we had a father and son school event. I told my teacher, I can't come. She asked why. I said, I don't have a dad. She looked sad. She said, you can bring your mom. I didn't. I stayed home that day and helped my mom clean the kitchen. We didn't talk about it, but I knew she understood. Teenage years were the hardest. I was angry. Angry at kids who complained about their strict dads. Angry at movies that showed perfect families. Angry at birthdays without cards, without phone calls, without him. Angry at my reflection. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I came from. There were no pictures. No stories. Just a blank space where half of me should have been. I started acting out. I skipped classes. I got into fights. I told people I didn't care. But I did. Deeply. I wanted someone to tell me how to shave, how to tie a tie, how to fix a car. I wanted someone to say, I'm proud of you, son. But even through all of that, my mom never gave up on me. When I failed my math test, she said, try again. When I came home late and she was worried, she said, I'm glad you're safe. When I cried because someone at school called me fatherless, she held me and said, you are more than enough. She worked hard to give me a normal life. She made pancakes every Sunday. She helped me with homework. She taught me how to cook, how to iron a shirt, how to be kind. She was my mother, but also my father in many ways. But the emptiness was still there. I carried it with me like a quiet shadow. At night, when the house was still, I would lie awake and wonder, what did his voice sound like? Did he ever think about me? Would I be different if he had stayed? That was the first part of my story, the part full of questions, longing, and the ache of what was missing. The part where silence spoke louder than words. College changed me. I moved to a city far from home. New streets, new people, new life. At first, I felt lost. I didn't know how to be on my own. But I remembered how my mother raised me, strong, kind, patient. I carried those lessons with me. I studied social work. I wanted to help others like me, kids who grew up with missing pieces. My classmates shared their stories. Some had 2 parents, some had none. I stopped hiding my own. I started saying, I never knew my dad, without shame. My roommate, James, once asked me, "Don't you hate him?" I paused. I used to. But now? I just feel sorry for him. He missed out on a lot. The anger I carried began to fade. It didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, in quiet moments, in kind words, in choosing to forgive not for him, but for me. At 23, I graduated. My mother sat in the front row, wiping away tears. After the ceremony, she hugged me tight. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it," I replied. That hug was worth 1,000 missed birthdays. A year later, I got a job at a center for youth in crisis. Some of the kids had been abandoned. Some were angry, just like I had been. I listened to them. I told them, "Your story is not over. You are not broken. You are not less." One afternoon, I helped a boy named Eli. He was 14, quiet, always sitting alone. One day he asked, "Do you know what it's like not to have a dad?" I looked him in the eyes and said, "Yes. I do." His eyes softened. He nodded slowly. And in that moment, we both understood something words couldn't say. 2 years later, I received a letter. No return address. Just my name. Inside was a small piece of paper with neat handwriting. "I heard you became a social worker. I'm proud of you. I'm sorry I wasn't there. Dad." I read it once. Then again. Then I put it in a drawer. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I felt something else, peace. I showed it to my mom. She looked at it quietly, then handed it back. "You decide what you want to do." I chose not to write back. Not out of anger. But because I didn't need his words. I had already built my life without him. I had already healed. And I knew, deep in my bones, that I was whole. Now, at 28, I work full-time with teenagers. I teach them how to set goals, how to express feelings, how to believe in themselves. I tell them, your past is not your prison. Sometimes I see dads with their kids at the park. I still wonder what could have been. But I don't feel pain. I feel gratitude. Because I didn't let the absence define me. I let love shape me. My mother is older now. Her hands are softer, her steps slower. But her eyes still shine. Every Sunday, we have dinner together. She brings soup. I make tea. We talk about life. Sometimes we laugh until we cry. And Sophie, my niece, climbs onto my lap and says, "Tell me a story, Uncle Lucas." I smile and say, "Once, there was a boy who grew up without a father. But he wasn't alone. He had love. And that love made him strong. I grew up without a father. But I didn't grow up without love. And that has made all the difference." Lucas's story reminds us that even when life begins with absence, it can still be filled with love, strength, and purpose. Like Lucas, we can choose not to be defined by what we lack, but by how we love, grow, and give back. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe for more simple and emotional English stories. And if you know someone who needs hope, share this with them today. Together, let's learn English and find strength in stories.